From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm Victor Beattie reporting Turkey has continued its post-coup attempt crackdown, dismissing hundreds of military personnel and shutting down dozens of media outlets. Arrest warrants have been issued for scores of journalists. U.S. spokesman John Kirby Wednesday said such moves represent a troubling trend.
What we've been very consistent on is condemning the attempt by a military force to overthrow a democratically elected government. And we've also, in conversations with Turkish authorities at various levels, urged restraint, a dedication to the rule of law, and the democratic principles that have upheld the elected government in Turkey already.
But Atlantic Council analyst Stein said the crackdown against the perceived supporters of exiled Muslim cleric Fethullah Gulen has wide support among those backing the government of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan.
I do think that the government believes that now is their time, is that they have political support for this. The Gulenists are considered to be the number one threat to Turkey, and so that now is the time to eradicate their influence within the Turkish bureaucracy completely. Otherwise, you risk losing the coalition supporting you domestically.
Tens of thousands of military, police, academics, judges, and civil servants have already been fired, suspended, detained, or questioned for alleged links to Gulen. Zimbabwe's 92-year-old leader, President Robert Mugabe, addressing thousands of supporters Wednesday, dismissed demands from war veterans that he step down.
If I still have the energy and still have the life and the blessings of God, I'll continue.
Last week, members of the Zimbabwe National Liberation Veterans Association charged Mr. Mugabe of having devoured the values of the liberation struggle against white minority rule. This is VOA News. Russia Thursday announced a large-scale humanitarian operation in the embattled Syrian city Aleppo to help civilians who the Russian defense minister said have become hostages of terrorists. He said 3 corridors will be established by Russian and Syrian forces in the city to allow civilians and rebels to leave. He also said a 4th will be opened soon north of the city. Meanwhile, President Bashar al-Assad is offering an amnesty to rebels who lay down their arms for a period of the next 3 months. In Iraq Wednesday, a mortar attack targeting a camp for the displaced south of Baghdad killed at least 4 people. Meanwhile, a suicide bomber detonated explosives after a policeman tried to stop him from entering a crowded marketplace in the Shia Baghdad neighborhood of Shula, killing at least 1 policeman. A day after nominating Hillary Clinton as its 2016 presidential candidate, the Democratic Party heard President Obama late Wednesday call Clinton uniquely qualified to succeed him as president in January.
And no matter how daunting the odds, no matter how much people try to knock her down, she never, ever quits. That is the Hillary I know. That's the Hillary I've come to admire.
Speaking to the party's convention in Philadelphia, Mr. Obama said the former Secretary of State has been with him, helping him make difficult decisions as Chief Executive and Commander-in-Chief. She delivers her acceptance speech late Thursday. John Hinckley, the man who attempted to assassinate President Ronald Reagan 35 years ago, is to be released soon from a government psychiatric hospital in Washington. A federal judge said Wednesday the 61-year-old Hinckley is no longer a threat to himself or others. He will be allowed to live with his mother in Williamsburg, Virginia, as early as August 5th. Former Secret Service agent Danny Spriggs expressed disappointment at the decision.
What kind of message does that send to potential individuals who are in a similar either mental state or a situation where they basically are looking for notoriety? And that does concern me.
In addition to wounding Mr. Reagan, Hinckley shot his press secretary James Brady, as well as a U.S. Secret Service agent and a policeman. Morocco Wednesday announced the arrest of dozens of suspects allegedly planning to set up an Islamic State affiliate in the North African country to carry out attacks. The government announced the arrests Wednesday that were made July 19th, and they said that they were interrupting plans to attack various sites, including music festivals. China and Russia have announced that they are holding what are described as routine joint military exercises in the South China Sea in September. The announcement comes just 2 weeks after a UN court at The Hague ruled against China's claim of sovereignty over most of the vital waterway. I'm Victor Beattie, VOA News.
That's the latest world news from VOA.